So if Islam teaches injustices, I should speak against it, correct? Now notice how they all don't want him to talk because he agrees with me. So why is the Quran used to people if they don't understand it? So that's Arabization. Yeah, of course. So what you heard was a Muslim in London in the 21st century trying to justify a religious apartheid on the basis that some people were not Muslims.
Please don't stay.
I talk against Islam, yeah. What's the problem in talking against Islam?
Because you just, the harmony between the Christian and Muslims living in here.
What about the lack of harmony that exists between Christians in Saudi Arabia or in any state where Islam dominates?
Saudi Arabia has got its own laws.
Well, name me a country where Christians.
Name
me an Islamic country where Christians aren't being persecuted.
What do you mean?
That's my point.
Egypt has got Christians.
And they're persecuted.
Iran has got Christians.
And they're persecuted.
No, they are not.
Yes, they are. Is it illegal to convert to Christianity in Iran?
In Iran, a lot of people convert to Christianity.
I know they do, but they do so illegally. So there is a legal persecution of Christians in Iran.
But, my friend, I'm talking about here.
I am talking about there.
Okay, why you care?
Why do I care?
It makes life harder.
Let me answer.
You're staring so much.
Let me answer. Why do I care? Because
those
those Christians in Iran are my brothers and sisters, and when they're being persecuted by an Islamic regime, then I have a duty to speak out against Islam.
But that Islamic regime has given right to the Christians.
It persecutes Christians. It persecutes Christians.
Where?
In Iran.
In the news?
In Iran. You're lying. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to everyone else.
They are Christian, they are happy.
Oh, Christians are happy in Iran.
Yes.
I've spoken to Iranian Christians. How many Iranian Christians have you spoke to?
A lot.
Right.
They're happy.
So you think they're happy to live in a country where they can be hanged just because they became Christian? You think they're happy? You're lying.
I never heard of
You're
that.
lying to
Somebody
yourself.
to be hanged
Then
because
if you've never heard of it, you're guilty of ignorance. You're ignorant and you're lying.
Preach good. As you say,
Preaching
you are
against Sharia law is a good thing. Sharia law is a bad thing. So to preach against Sharia law is a good thing, by definition.
No Islamic country has got Sharia law. Nowhere in
Iran says that it follows Sharia law. Saudi Arabia says that it follows Sharia law. Pakistan says that its laws are derived from Sharia law.
There are no Sharia law.
There's no Sharia law. I agree, Sharia law doesn't work. It's not practiced anywhere.
This is your imagination.
No, your
countries
imagination.
No.
Your imagination is that Christians are not being persecuted. Until Muslims like you can accept that Christians are suffering in the Middle East, it is you that needs to be corrected, not me. Until progressives accept that Christians are being persecuted in the Middle East, they need to be corrected on their ignorance. They need to shut up about Islamophobia.
But you are talking about here.
No, I'm talking about over there.
Over there. Okay. So you are opening the wounds of all these problems over thousands of years ago. Now people started to come together again.
It's happening today.
No, it's not.
It's happening. You're lying. You are lying. Christians are persecuted in Saudi Arabia. Christians are persecuted in Iran. Christians are persecuted in Jordan. Christians are persecuted in Syria. Christians are persecuted in Egypt. Christians are persecuted in Sudan. Christians are persecuted in Afghanistan. You need to accept reality that one of the fruits of your religion is the persecution of Christians. If you don't like that fact, maybe you need to find yourself a better religion.
My friend, because if you are a minority, you got to obey the law and rules of the country. But if, let's say in Sudan there is Christian, but they are separated now. In the south of Sudan is now.
They're still persecuting them in North Sudan.
No.
They are.
And they live
You're lying
together
again.
before they
You're
live-
lying again. You're lying to yourself because you're an ignorant man.
This is
You're an ignorant man who wants to marshal an ignorant argument, and you're doing it because you don't like me pointing out the bad things about Islam.
but I mean, you have got a Muslim in here. What they have done to you? What
The
they have done to you?
Islam
Yeah.
teaches the persecution of Christians.
Okay.
Teaches it. So the problem is the Quran and the Hadith. Now, are you a Sunni or a Shia?
Sunni.
You're a Sunni. So let's look at what Sunni Islam teaches about Christianity, and let's see if you think it's right or wrong.
My friend, I don't want to go to that. No, I don't want to because
Oh, suddenly you're shy.
No.
You were so confident that I was wrong,
No.
but now I've got out the
No,
Quran to prove that I'm right.
we cannot
Suddenly
go-
you've lost your
even
confidence.
when we debated, it will be never to conclusion. There will be no conclusion. So I'm saying that.
Yeah, there will be a conclusion.
At the end of the day, you're Christian and I'm Muslim, and that's what. That's
And Islam teaches that I should be persecuted under
No.
Sharia law. And that's why it is a good thing to speak against Islam.
That's bad. You see what I'm saying?
Why is it a bad thing?
Come together. And
Why is it a bad thing? Let me use another analogy. Would it be wrong for me to speak against the ideology of the Ku Klux Klan?
But that is not an ideology.
Answer the question.
It's just based on race.
It's an ideology.
Yeah, no.
It's a racial ideology.
It's not revealed from God.
Answer the question.
Islam is different.
Would it be right for me to preach against Nazism, the Ku Klux Klan, and other racial ideologies? Right. So if Islam teaches injustices, I should speak against it, correct?
Yes, yeah.
There we go. So all I need to do now is prove that Islam preaches injustices, and then my preaching against Islam is justified. Agreed? If I can prove that Islam teaches injustice, I can prove that I'm right to speak against Islam, correct?
Yes.
Right, so let's look at what Islam teaches.
I come here 20 years. It's never finished, my friend. You know, you got to accept me that I'm Muslim, and I accept you that you're Christian. You know,
But Islam does not
We cannot-
accept the existence of Christianity.
Okay.
It prescribes and discriminates against Christians. Shall I give you an example?
So what is your solution?
The solution
You
is,
say you have got Muslim in here.
yeah.
And are they part of this country?
Hey, so here's the solution.
What is the solution?
We need to make sure that Islam does not become a organizing principle in our society. That it doesn't organize our culture, that it doesn't organize our economic systems, that it doesn't organize our political systems, that it doesn't organize our laws.
What about it?
And more so, not only should we make sure that Islam can't do that here, we should change the fact that it does it anywhere in the world.
See that how dangerous that is? So
No, it's a wonderful thing.
Even you don't.
It's an absolutely wonderful thing.
Whatever you say, it is our religion. Can we have it the same things in our land?
You already
In our-
do that.
Huh?
You already do that.
No, that's.
But
But
you object to it when I suggest doing it to you.
No, but you're
And
not-
that's your conscience telling you it's wrong.
But you have got another aim to go there, and you say that you just mentioned it, that you want to go there to implement all these things you said. To the Muslim countries.
So what you just did, are you saying that you don't want to see Sharia law here?
No, I say it is up to this country.
Do you want to
This
see Sharia law here?
Excuse me. This country has given rights to Muslims to live here. So all I'm saying, what is your problem?
Answer the question.
Why you are against them?
The question is not going to go away. Do you want to see Sharia law here?
If this country allow it, it depends to the country.
So do you want to... you see, you're not answering the question. Answer the question. The question won't go away.
Talks about Islam.
Do you want Sharia law here?
Maybe he wants to become Muslim.
No.
Answer the question.
We are
Everyone can see you're not answering the question.
All I understand.
Answer the question.
We are here.
Answer the question.
We are given the right.
Answer the
To
question.
live here. We obey
Answer the
law
question.
Of this country.
Right, and this shows the superiority of man-made laws of the West over Islamic laws. Because man-made laws in the West afford more rights to Muslims in the West than Sharia law affords to Christians in the Muslim world. And you, when I suggested taking away Islam's power to dominate in the Muslim world and here, You objected to it because your conscience is telling you it's wrong. But Islam does that to Christians and you're fine with it. You're okay with it. And that tells you, bro, that you've got cognitive dissonance. Your conscience is telling you one thing, your pride is telling you something else.
Same as, I mean, in this country, that is the way you have to be. You know, we have to sacrifice.
Answer the question.
All I'm saying to the man,
Do you want to see Sharia law here?
problem.
Inshallah. There you go. Right. So let me just deal with that. Do any Muslims agree with him?
Why should there be a Sharia law in this country? Is a majority Christian?
Okay, do you want there to be Sharia law here? If it happens, it happens. So my attitude is, if we can get rid of Sharia law in Saudi Arabia, the world will be a better place. If it happens, it happens. Inshallah. Inshallah, Sharia law will be swept from Saudi Arabia, swept from Pakistan, swept from Iran, swept from Egypt. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with my... No. What's wrong with...